What's up, everybody, and welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. I thought I was done making videos for today, but apparently that's not the case, because I put up a video to help out Yazan about his school project, and immediately got a response, which I thought would actually make an interesting video. And this is how I make these videos. I don't wait on them. As soon as I feel I have a subject, and I have it in my head, and I'm passionate about it, and I'm ready to rock and let it fly and shoot from the hip, that's what I do. I film. I don't plan any of this stuff out. I don't write it out. There's no script. It's basically right from the hip as I see it, when I see it, and when I feel it. So, Muscle for Decades said, what about the... This is now me talking about performance-enhancing drugs and how I think they should be legal for athletes to use. He says, what about the people that don't want to risk their health? Now the only way to play pro sports is to get on gear. Then you will have kids doing it in the pros. It will just be a huge decline in sports. Newsflash, it's been in sports, and sports have been on the incline for years, so you're wrong. He said it may be good for the first 10 years, but once everybody looks 40 when they're 20, it won't be cool anymore. First of all, if you paid attention to the video, I said you would give them the option of using them. Not make them mandatory and shoot them yourself as the team owner. And if they decide not to use them, then they decide not to use them. When you turn 21, you decide whether you drink or not. When you turn 18, you decide whether you smoke or not. Smoking will age you faster than any steroid will, and there's a lot of teenagers doing it right now. Not athletes, teens in general. They don't give a shit. And that is just a fact. And so a lot of them are drinking right now as teenagers too. They get hammered at piss-ass drunk, throw up all over themselves and their friends, and pass out on Friday night, and then go home and tell their parents, oh, I had a great time at a pizza party at Joey's house. Bullshit, okay? There's a lot more going on here than what these steroids are going to do with professional athletes. And then it talks about all the kids. Yeah, okay, kids. You know, let's face facts. Part of the problem here, Muscle for Decades, is people don't take the time to take care of their kids anymore. They don't teach them right from wrong, and they let Michael Jordan and LeBron James and all these other people, Michael Vick of all people, be their role models. They let them lead the way. They let the rap stars rap in these songs, and these kids follow what they say like it's gospel, because they need someone to look up to, because the parents are too busy fucking around or working 10 jobs trying to make ends meet or whatever the deal is, or they just don't give a shit. So they look for inspiration and motivation from other places than their parents, who are not teaching them in the first place. Where are they going to find it? They're going to find it from rappers. So now if a kid gets shot, do you ban all rap music? Well, some people will try to do that, but that's not the answer either. The answer starts at home. The parents are to blame. When I was a kid, I was taught that drugs are bad. Drugs are absolutely bad. They're going to fuck you up. They're going to kill you. They're going to ruin your life. And that's what I grew up thinking. Now, when I turned, 18, 19 years old, I made the decision myself to stay natural as a bodybuilder. And I competed naturally until I got to that next point, and then weighed the options myself. Okay? Here's where my parents taught me. You weigh the options. Is it bad? Is it good? What are the sides? What could possibly come from this? Know what you're getting yourself into. If your kid is stupid enough to go grab a syringe and jam it in his ass without knowing anything about it and hurting himself, that's because you didn't teach them to use their heads. It has nothing to do with the fact that Alex Rodriguez is using it or anybody else is using it, because first of all, they shouldn't be looking up to A-Rod and saying, you're the best thing in the whole world in my life. They should be thinking about their parents like that if their parents put the time in. So teach the kids, teach them, explain to them what it is. And I can guarantee you right now, even if this doesn't take place, what I said about legalizing it, your kids are in school with somebody who's on steroids. Your kids are in school with somebody who's taking ecstasy on the weekends, ketamine, doing cocaine, smoking marijuana, drinking. Half of them probably smoke cigarettes. I've seen that. I can't tell you how many young kids I've seen smoking cigarettes. They got all these ads, they pull the kids in, the Joe Camel ad and all that bullshit, that pull kids in to make them smoke. And you're worried about what your kids are going to take as an athlete when they're going to make $43 million a year, and you're worried about maybe their cholesterol might go up. Or you're worried about they won't be able to play in the pros. Are you kidding me? Newsflash, if your kid's good enough to play in the pros, he's going to play in the pros. He's going to take the drugs with you not knowing it, whether he wants to or not. If he wants to go to the pros, he's going to make the step to do it. If he doesn't want to take that step, he's not going to play in the pros, whether it's drugs or not. It's not going to happen. You have to have that mindset of, I'm going to be the best. I'm going after it for all out, and no matter what happens, I'm going after it. Without that, you're not going to be a professional athlete. I don't give a shit who you are. So you have to have that personality ahead of time to where you're going to do anything to get to the top. If your kid has that personality, you're fucked, because he's going to do whatever he wants to get to the top. And that's not a bad thing, because the kid's probably going to be very successful in a big part of this world and contribute in a big way, as opposed to the one that's going to sit there and go, I don't want to do this. Well, okay, little Johnny, don't do it. Go ahead and go back and play your video games. Don't even get me started with that shit. So, Muscle for Decades, my advice to you is, stop worrying about what kids are and aren't going to do. Because they have their own minds and they're going to do it. Whether they're 14, 18, or 25, they have their own minds whether you know it or not. I remember being a kid. I remember the way I thought. I remember how my brain processed stuff. And it wouldn't matter whether Alex Rodriguez or anyone else told me not to do drugs. If I was going to do drugs, I'm going to do drugs. And what you're missing, is the whole point is these kids are little individual beings. And they're going to do what they want to do. And they're going to make their freaking decisions. But unless you plant the seed in their head of the right and wrong thing to do, it ain't going to happen anyways. If you leave up to LeBron James and these guys to be their role models and teach them, that's on you. BioHistoryTraining@gmail.com. More comments down below, and see what you guys have to weigh in about this. You guys who think like this or don't think like this. www.biohistorytraining.com is the blog, and we're out.